What if the most powerful force in human relationships is not logic, strength, or authority, but seduction itself? What if the ability to captivate hearts and minds can be learned just like any other skill? And what if the people who shape culture, lead nations, inspire movements, and dominate industries do so not through force, but through emotional influence and magnetic presence? This is the premise of The Art of Seduction by Robert Greene, a deep psychological exploration into the mechanisms of attraction, persuasion, and influence. Greene presents seduction as a form of power. It is subtle rather than forceful, psychological rather than physical, and emotional rather than logical. Seduction is the art of inspiring others to willingly follow your lead. Greene argues that seduction surrounds us constantly. People are seduced by ideas, by luxury brands, by charismatic leaders, by inspiring visions, and by powerful emotions. Seduction can shape the fate of nations, the success of businesses, and the direction of personal relationships. It is the most effective form of influence because people resist being pushed, but they submit freely to desire. When someone is seduced, they choose to commit. They choose to be loyal. They choose to say yes. The art of seduction begins by introducing a set of seductive character types that demonstrate different approaches to influence. Greene describes figures such as the siren, who seduces with presence, voice, and sensory appeal. He presents the rake, who wins through passion, intensity, and single-minded desire. The ideal lover, who understands emotional needs and creates a fantasy world that feels uniquely fulfilling. The charismatic, who captivates through confidence, energy, and conviction. The natural, who charms others by embodying youthfulness, authenticity, and spontaneity. Greene also highlights types such as the dandy, the coquette, the seductive writer, and the star, each with a distinct psychological strategy. Understanding your own type and the type of the person you want to influence is the first step to effective seduction. A major principle in seduction is the power of attention. True seducers make others feel seen, understood, and valued. They study desires, insecurities, hopes, and frustrations. Most people go through life craving recognition. When someone listens deeply, without distraction, they become irresistible. Seduction begins by stepping into another person's world rather than forcing them into yours. Another key principle is mystery. People are naturally drawn to what they do not fully understand. Predictability is the enemy of attraction. Seducers reveal themselves slowly, creating curiosity and anticipation. Mystery engages imagination, and imagination is far more powerful than reality. People fall in love with the story they create in their mind. Seduction thrives in ambiguity and controlled uncertainty. Greene also teaches the principle of contrast. Seducers are not one-dimensional. They combine opposites such as vulnerability and power, distance and closeness, playfulness and seriousness. This contrast generates emotional tension, which keeps others engaged and invested. Predictability kills seduction because the mind becomes bored. Variation ignites desire. Another core lesson is that seduction works on emotion rather than logic. Logical persuasion has limits because people rationalize with their minds, but decide with their hearts. Seducers communicate through atmosphere, tone, rhythm, and suggestion. They create an emotional experience. The smallest gestures can create immense impact. A longer pause, a softer tone, a well-timed silence. These subtle tools reshape perception. The art of seduction also explores the importance of staging dramatic moments. Seducers create experiences that interrupt routine and elevate emotion. Life is often repetitive and dull. Seducers break that pattern through novelty, symbolism, intensity, and surprise. They make memories instead of offering explanations. They create scenes that become unforgettable and therefore addictive. Seduction is a slow and strategic process. Greene emphasizes that rushing destroys power. Seduction is not conquest. It is gradual, psychological transformation. The seducer builds comfort, trust, fascination, and dependency step by step. Each stage deepens influence. Just as a story unfolds chapter by chapter, seduction unfolds through rhythm and pacing. Greene also explains the technique of reflecting desires. People do not fall in love with you. They fall in love with the version of themselves they see reflected through you. Seducers discover what others lack and become the embodiment of that missing quality. If someone desires adventure, the seducer becomes excitement. If someone desires peace, the seducer becomes calm. If someone desires admiration, the seducer becomes the admirer. This creates emotional resonance. Another powerful strategy is strategic detachment. Seduction loses power when desire turns into neediness. Seducers stay grounded and emotionally centered. They do not chase, they attract. They maintain independence, which creates gravitational pull. People desire what they cannot fully possess. A slight distance increases longing more than constant closeness. Greene teaches that seducers use suggestion rather than force. They imply instead of demanding. They plant ideas subtly and allow others to believe the idea originated within themselves. When people feel agency, they defend and pursue the outcome more fiercely. The art of seduction also explores psychological vulnerability. People are often ruled by loneliness, insecurity, boredom, and desire for validation. Seducers understand these inner forces and respond to them with empathy and emotional intelligence. The most seductive power is understanding. Seduction is not about deception, it is about connection. Greene cautions that seduction must be used consciously and ethically. Seduction is powerful, and without integrity, it can damage relationships and reputations. Understanding seduction is not only about becoming more influential, it is also about protecting yourself from manipulation. When you understand the mechanics of seduction, you become immune to emotional traps and better equipped to create healthy relationships. The deeper message of the art of seduction is that seduction is ultimately the art of inspiring and transforming others. It is about elevating experience, awakening emotion, and bringing intensity and meaning into everyday life. Seduction is not merely about romance. It is about leadership, communication, storytelling, and charisma. It is about becoming magnetic. The big takeaway from the art of seduction is straightforward. Influence is a skill. Charisma is a skill. Emotional intelligence is a skill. Connection, fascination, and persuasion can all be learned. Seduction is a form of power available to anyone willing to study human psychology and practice presence, patience, and artful communication. So what part of this book speaks to you most strongly? The idea that attention creates attraction, the power of mystery and tension, the value of emotional intelligence, or the idea that seduction is about transforming experience, not manipulation? Share your thoughts in the comments, and if you enjoyed this summary, like this video, subscribe to 10-Minute Books, and tap the bell so you never miss our weekly deep dives into life-changing books. Remember, the greatest form of power does not shout, it whispers. And those who master subtle influence shape the world.